Ever since the town split apart in 1666, Sunnyvale has become an economic paradise, while Shadyside has become the home for the most spree killers in the world. However, none of this seems to matter too much to Dina, who's just gone through a nasty breakup with her girlfriend Sam, who ditched her for Sunnyvale when her parents remarried. Things take a turn for the worse when, shortly after a fight between the two schools, just before their big football game, the Sunnyvale guys, including Sam, begin hounding the Shadyside bus, leading to a car accident that somehow awakens the spirit of a long-cursed witch named Sarah Fear. Because Sam is the one who disturbed Sarah's grave, Sarah wants revenge on her in particular and begins going after all her friends, including Dina, Kate, Simon, and Dima's brother Josh, who has seemed to connect all of the spree killings in Shadyside. In fact, it seems that this witch is behind all of them. This is part 1 of Fear Street, taking place in 1994. So yeah, this is, like I said, this is the first part of a trilogy. We're actually going backwards. The next one will be in 1978, and then we go back to the beginning in 1666. And so far, this is not a great start to this. I will admit, R.L. Stine was just something I never got into. I know he did several things before Goosebumps, but I kind of just fell right out of the age range for Goosebumps. I mean, I do remember some of his non-Goosebump horror novels were still in my middle school. They were quite a bit of contention for a long time as to whether or not they should have been banned. But I never really got into them, and my brother was into Goosebumps, and I was, like I said, I kind of fell just out of that age range where Goosebumps was popular. So I did glean a little bit from it, and I know that he got a lot of heavy influence from, the old EC Comics and working in the EC Comics twist with those stories. But unfortunately, this one just skews a little bit older. This was not Goosebumps at all. This one's more straight horror. It's rated R. There's swearing. There's some very bizarre sequences. Like, I applaud that they're taking the chance of doing a lesbian romance story in the a high school lesbian romance story in the mid-90s. I mean, one could argue it's hard to be gay in high school now, but it could be even harder back then. Like, we're at least a bit more accepting nowadays than we were back then in 1994. It does a good job. I will say this: they do a real good job of capturing the 90s. Like, early on, there is a killing at a mall. And it's a woman who works at a B. Dalton bookstore. You see her running around. There's a Spencer's Gifts. Her kind of boyfriendish guy works at. There's a Music Land. There's a Software, etc. So they did a good job of capturing that. For the most part, the music is spot on, except at one point they play Firestarter, which did not come out in 1994. Oops. The idea is, like I said, Sunnyvale is the upscale, ritzy, not quite suburban town, while Shadyside is kind of poor, white, trashy type thing. But they still have an AOL connection, and Dina's brother Josh has been racking up the bill as of late and has gotten in trouble for it. And Josh is kind of part of this conspiracy theory group trying to trace everything back to this witch, Sarah Fear. And, so he's the one who really pieces together what's happening and why this witch is coming after Sarah. Or Sam. I mean, Sarah is coming after Sam. That's not going to get confusing. And then, unfortunately, this is where the problem of the film really lies. The pacing is just way off. This thing is way too long. This is a 75 to 80 minute movie that got stretched out to almost 2 hours, and it's so padded and clunky and with bad exposition and characters who are barely likable most of the time. Like, Dina has two big friends, Kate, who is a cheerleader and also a drug dealer, and Simon, who is also a drug dealer, who also works part-time at a grocery store. And while they're not necessarily made to be like total jerks, they spend much of the film being really kind of jerky. And again, you're dealing drugs, which is illegal. And there's kind of this, we're just doing it so we can afford to get out of this town. But at the same time, it's like that's what a lot of drug dealers tend to say. So again, like, just a little bit there, but they do sort of start to redeem themselves because basically what happens is, like I said, Sam and Dina broke up. I think I said parents remarried. Sam's father remarried. She has a stepmother now, and she's allowed to be in Sunnyvale, and because she actually wanted to get out of it and have a future. But Dina just kind of knows that the truth is she did not want to come out to her parents and get in trouble, so she's in this, sham of a relationship with this bro-douchey jock named Peter. And Peter and Sam and a couple others are hounding the Shady Side bus as it's heading back after the football game is canceled. And Dina tries to pretend to throw a Gatorade bucket and accidentally winds up throwing the Gatorade bucket out of the back of the bus at the car and causes an accident. And sort of from there, that's kind of why Sarah's blood spills on, not Sarah, I keep saying Sarah, Sam's blood spills on the ground, and it disturbs Sarah's grave because Sarah fears the one-handed witch. When she was about to be burned at the stake, she severed her hand and buried it under the town where Shady Side is, and so that's infected the whole town and possessed it, so her evil can manifest throughout everything. Like I said, that part's really good, but the way we get there is just really clunky. Like as I said, this thing's 2 hours long, and it takes them a half an hour to finally get to, oh yeah, this is when the killing starts. It's just really bad, unfortunately. Once the world building takes place, it starts to work a bit better, but then it just gets clunky again, and it becomes this kind of race to defeat all of these manifestations, because what the witch is doing is she's reviving all of these previous spree killers to come after the group. And basically, when Sam was bleeding, she bled onto Dina. She did not bleed onto Kate, but she bled onto Simon, and she bled onto her boyfriend. And so they're going, Peter, and so the killers are going where they're scenting Sam's blood, and so that's why they're killing all these other people. And I think that's sort of an interesting idea, and so they start trying to utilize that. And that leads to a scene where they're at the school trying to set a trap, and they're changing their clothes, in which we get some, lovingly rendered scenes of the three principal female characters stripped down to their underwear. Kate hooks up with Josh, who's supposed to be like 14, so I don't know what that's going for. So again, I think he tried to go a little too adult with this, unfortunately. So and their trap really doesn't work, and then they find out, oh wait, there was this one survivor, and the killers are still chasing them. They managed to somehow call this person on the phone. This is not a cell phone. This is 1994, so it's still landline type stuff. And I'll try to avoid the big twists and spoilers, but it's like, boy, this is just weird at times, and not necessarily in a good way. This is a real clunky start to this trilogy. I do hope this picks up, but right now, unfortunately, I have to give Fear Street Part 1, 1994, a D. Again, it had some moments, but it just was real grindy, and it felt like a chore to get through, especially towards the end. It just dragged and dragged and dragged. Like a 2-hour-long movie, and again, could have been over at about the 80-minute mark. It really could have. It just, boy, it just kept going.
Chicago. A man is about to get on a routine flight. Suddenly he pauses. He doesn't know why, but he's got to walk away. An hour later, the plane goes down in flames. It's dismissed as chance. Britain. A woman has a sudden image of a black mountain that's moving, with children trapped underneath it. 2 hours later, a Welsh schoolhouse is buried in an avalanche of coal slag. It's dismissed as coincidence. Northern Texas. An unidentified flying object is reported by at least a dozen people. Although there were no storms in the area, it's dismissed as lightning. Now, Time Life Books announces an important new library, Mysteries of the Unknown, a series that explores the most controversial phenomena of our time and tells you everything that can be known. The Midwest. A mother feels a sharp pain in her right hand. Far away at that exact same moment, her daughter screams as she touches a hot pan. Just chance? Or is it telling us something about our own untapped capabilities? Mysteries of the Unknown goes deeper into unexplained phenomena than ever before. It documents the facts and uncovers what people were never willing to talk about. Stonehenge. A visitor fashions a wire antenna in the shape of an ancient Egyptian symbol. He points it at the stones, and a surge of power rushes into his arm, knocking him unconscious. Was it all in his mind, or was it much more than that? To experience Mysteries of the Unknown, examine your first volume, Mystic Places, for 10 days free. Then decide if you want to dismiss it.
To order your first book, Mystic Places, call 1-800-532-1100. Examine it for 10 days. Keep it and pay just $12.99 plus $2.98 shipping and handling. Other books will follow, one about every other month. Keep only the ones you want. Cancel at any time. Call 1-800-532-1100.
Okay, so the next video is going to be the random trade review on Frankenstein Alive Alive by Steve Niles and Bernie Wrightson. And then things got a little cluttered. Suddenly, I decided to do the 3-part Fear Street thing and didn't realize I was starting on the 2nd. For some reason, I thought it started on the 5th. I thought I had a little bit more of a breathing room, but not really, I guess. Instead, so after that, we're going to get the Black Widow review. Then probably I will review the last 2 parts of Fear Street in the same week. They'll be spread out by a couple of days, but and then there'll be another random trade review. And then, yes, I am aware that apparently The Mighty One Season 2 dropped this month. I did not know this. Neither Hulu or Peacock really did a good job of promoting it at all. And yeah, so I am looking forward to it. It actually looks really good. But yeah, I'll be reviewing that at more so the end of the month. And of course, there'll be the Money in the Bank recap and review. So we'll have plenty of fun things going on, and there might even be another video somewhere around there. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember, you can help support my channel at patreon.com/sleepytime for Cat Productions, where you can help request a movie, even if it's something like, say, Sonic the Hedgehog or the next Purge film. I'll review it.